All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Marco. I'm the founder of Fierro Labs and Fierro API. So Fierro is a web API implemented in Go that enables creators, developers to create, publish, republish, and track IPNS records. So in other words, it's an IPNS pinning service. And so I'm making this short demo to showcase its current standing and capabilities, and so to show how the API works beyond just the README. So this is a traditional API. Currently, there are 10 endpoints, 2 to add files to IPFS, 3 to manipulate the keys, 3 to handle records, and then 2 to handle tracking. And then information on this is available on the GitHub. So in this demo, we're going to try to publish a website to IPNS. And I think this is a perfect use case because we're assuming that the user does not have access to a local IPFS node and they want to make use of one to publish their site in a more decentralized way. So websites are usually bundled together in a directory. And so we'll start by uploading a website to the server. Then the server will handle the uploading to IPFS, and then it'll return to us a CID. And then from there, we'll request the key from the server, and then we'll publish our site to IPNS all through the API's endpoints. And then afterwards, once that is done, I'll go through each endpoint to show how each of them work. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I have here my website that I created a couple years back. Recently graduated from UC Santa Cruz with a BS in computer science. This was shortly after the pandemic hit. But we can see here that it is a static page, one single page, but it does have the directory for CSS, and it has all the images here for the website. So we're going to upload this to IPFS and then see if we can get back, see if we could publish it onto IPNS. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to get started is we have our IPFS node running already in the background, and then we're going to start the server. All right, we're listening on port 8082, and we're just going to come over here and we're going to check our keys, make sure that we don't have any that we're not expecting. All right, perfect. So just our own. All right, and then so as we can see here, we have a endpoint called add folder. I have not been able to find a way to do this over a curl request. So I have a very simple HTML drop folder form here to showcase how to use it. So currently, I have it so that it is accepting only zip files. I was not able to find out how to get it as just a regular folder and maintain all the subdirectories still. So we have it as a zip folder, we compress it, and then we submit it over. All right, perfect. So we have here the IPFS CID, and it says success. So we go over back to our server, and we can see here there's the path that it uploaded it to. It unzipped it, and then added to IPFS. We got the CID back. Boom. All right. Now the next thing that we're going to want to do is before we can publish anything to the IPNS network, we need to have a key to be able to do that. So we can sign off on the request to prove that is us, and then also to claim ownership of that record. And also that'll help us in the future for being able to republish the record through the server. So we got to request that key first. So we're going to do a get request to the get endpoint or get key endpoint. And we're including the flag output here to say that the data that we get back from the server is going to be added into this file that we arbitrarily chosen to be called temp.key. And instead of writing it all out, I'm just going to execute the script that this command is in. Let's see what we get here. All right, perfect. So we can see here that it generated the key in the IPFS node. It exported the key. This command actually, what happens here is that it exports the key from the node to a file on the server. And then from the server, from there, it sends it over to us, and we can see that we received it right here. Perfect. And then after that, since we don't want to keep the key because that is not what that endpoint is meant for, it's just meant to generate a key and return it to the user. We don't want to keep it. We delete the key from our own node, and we delete the key from that was exported from the node. And so we check here, we see that we still only have our own key. Okay, now that we have that done, we have our key on client side. We're going to, when we have our CID already, all that's left is to publish the content to the IPNS network. So we're going to make a post request to the post record endpoint. We're going to provide the CID of the content that we want published under our record, and we're going to provide the key to the server as well, because remember, the server does not have the key still. So instead of writing out the whole curl command, I'm just going to execute the script, and this will send over everything together. And we can see here, it is currently publishing to IPNS. So while it's publishing, oh, there we go. Perfect. So we see success, post key, the value at which we can find the content. And we can see that this is stored under the ID. So we can also verify that that is correct with the get record endpoint. We provide the key ID, which we want to search, and then let's see what it brings back. All right, and so we can see that it matches. Perfect. And then, so another thing about the post record endpoint is that it actually tells the server to keep the key. And so this will allow our node to automatically republish a record when the time comes for it to be republished. All right, and so to verify that this worked and that our record does hold the content that we ask it to, we could go over to the IPFS gateway. We can request the IPNS key and then see if it resolves. But one problem with this is that it will take a really long time for it to resolve, especially if it's newly published. I will have a hard time finding it. And so that's where the benefit of the get key endpoint really comes in, right? Because you'll be able to come to this specific node and be able to request the content for that specific ID. And so you will be able to find the content which you published a lot faster if you do it through the IPNS binning service. Thank you so much for watching. In conclusion, I showed how to publish a website to IPNS through the API, and this is a great workaround for finding content much quicker. You basically would be able to go right to the source to grab a website. This will allow creators to make use of the IPFS network without having to host their own node. Ultimately, right, the end goal is for this API to allow users to keep their content available when they themselves go offline. Thank you so much for watching again. Remember to give our repo a star, participate in the discussions and issues to contribute to this wonderful tool that we, the IPFS community, need. And you can find me on Twitter and Discord at Legend of Mar, or you can email me at marco@fierdrolabs.com. And all this information as well is on the GitHub repo at fierdrolabs/fierdro. You can read about the content I have, the API, and how to run it yourself. And you can get up-to-date news through the discussions board, where I post weekly on updates on the project, or at the Fierdro website. Here you can read up more about it. And I also will post the weekly blogs on the website itself as well. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're excited as I am. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.